Good morning, class. My name is Michael from Parker & Michael Cycling, and I hope you're doing well today. Today, I have a presentation on how to cycle safely. Well, just all about. And there will be a test at the end. Let's get to it. Alrighty, class, this is chapter 1. It's called What You Can Do. Already, the first thing on what you can do is maintenance, right? You got your bicycle, you got this beautiful bike, you just bought it, right? And there's something wrong, but you don't know quite what it is. Your braking's off, the wheel's punctured. Actually, you do know those things. But before you go out on a ride with this new bicycle, you need to make sure it's in working order. And this goes for any bicycle, right? This seems like it's common sense, although you can be 30 miles away from your home or a safe place and have a bicycle malfunction that could have been preventable. So it's important to keep ahead on cleaning your bike, making sure your parts are okay, and functional working order. The second thing on chapter 1, what you can do, PPE, personal protective equipment, right? How are we going to protect ourselves in case of a traumatic event or a bicycle crash? Helmets, those things are super important. Sunglasses, having a phone to call someone, having a bike computer to let people know where you are. Sunscreen is super important. Just things like that to ensure your safety. And yeah. Class, do you have any questions over chapter 1? Yes, you right there.
Yeah, teacher, how much does a helmet really help you?
Already, that's a really good question. So helmets help us, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, I may have gotten that wrong, a helmet reduced the risk of head injury by 60%, serious head injury and brain injury. And between 2010 and 2017, 79% of bicycle fatalities were reported not having helmets. So the numbers speak for themselves. Alrighty, class, time to move on. This is chapter 2 called The Research You Can Do. First of all, before I go on any bike ride, before any experienced cyclist goes on a bike ride, they look at where they're gonna go, right? Oftentimes people have routes that they already like to do and they know about, but if you're new to a certain place, there's really no way to effectively figure out where you're going. So it's super important to figure out where you're going, what's gonna be where you're going, what's along the way, construction, traffic, busy roads, things like that. Another thing is check the weather, okay? When you're out, again, I'm using a 30-mile thing. When you're out 30 miles from your home, a thunderstorm comes in. You don't want that, right? That's a way unsafe. So make sure you're checking weather. And in some other instances, it can be even more dangerous than just being rained on. So it's important, do research. Anybody have any questions over chapter 2? Yes, you right there.
What if I don't know where to save, oh my gosh, I'm so clumsy. What if I didn't know where to find safe road conditions or routes?
Alrighty, that's also a really good question. So if you don't know where to find safe routes or available road conditions, use resources like this, like YouTube, like Google Maps, Google Street View, Google Earth, sharing apps like Strava or Garmin. I'm sure there are a lot more than that. Or even use an experienced friend, because talking with someone you know, they're gonna know the local area a lot better, and that's just a really safe way to go about it. When it comes to weather, there are so many weather apps that are probably on phones, Google, Samsung, Apple. All search browsers also have available free weather platforms, so there's no excuse to doing research. Alright everybody, this is chapter 3. It's called The Love-Hate Relationship with Me. I'm just kidding, that just rhymed, I want to call it that. Nonetheless, this is going to be broken up into 2 parts. So this is part 1, where you are cycling. So you want to make sure you're cycling on safe roads, first and foremost, right? That's kind of common sense, right? Are you going to choose between a 6-lane highway or a rural road or neighborhood, right? That seems like a pretty obvious decision, but for some people it's not. That's okay, sometimes it's inaccessible. So just make sure if you're going to ride on a larger road, maybe not a 6-lane highway, but a busier street, just make sure you do the research ahead of time. The second thing is look around on like those apps again, Strava, Garmin, Google Maps. They have available greenways, parkways, and trails. Those are ideal places to ride your bike because they're designed for bikes to be ridden on. Right, so let's move on to part 2. Alrighty, part 2 is about those people, those folks who decide to make the plunge in riding with traffic. That's a scary threshold to break. It took me a while to get used to riding with traffic, and it certainly depends on where you live. The more people, the longer it usually takes. But Chapter 3, Part 2 is about how you're seen to the driver, right? When you ride down the road, you've got a couple options, right? You can ride directly in the middle, take up the whole lane. You can kind of ride between the middle and the edge, or you can ride on the edge. And each thing tells you something different, or rather tells the driver something different about where what your intentions are, right? So if you're hugging the side of the road, that kind of tells a car it's possibly okay to go around me, right? Even if you don't want to. So that's something you need to think about. Where you ride in the road tells the driver what they can and cannot do. So let's say you're driving, you're riding your bike down the side of the road, you're hugging the side. What happens if a pothole comes up, right? Are you gonna go through the pothole and potentially risk yourself, or are you gonna go around to the advert of the driver behind you, okay? So it's important to know when and where to ride in the road itself, in the lane. Because if you're on the side of a road, if you're on the exact side of the road and you're going up a hill and a car is paying attention to you and they think they can go around you and then there's another car coming, that could be catastrophic, right? So just think about where you are and what that says about what the car can do behind you. So that's super important. And just think about what message do you send to the drivers around you, because cars oftentimes don't know what to do with cyclists. They get nervous, they get scared, and when those things happen, bad things can go to them. Anybody have any questions over Chapter 3? Yes, you right there.
Yeah, Teach Web here. Is it better to ride in urban or rural places?
Already, that's another really great question. Is it better to ride in urban or rural places? Well, although it's possible, it is really possible to ride in both urban and rural places safely. Statistically speaking, 60 to 70% of bicycle fatalities in the past 50 years have happened at urban places, because generally speaking, bicycle fatalities don't happen with just a bicycle by themselves. It's usually a car and a bicycle that has that interaction and causes the death, unfortunately. Although I want to emphasize, with safe thinking and research and preparation, it's certainly possible to be in a rural and urban environment safely on your bike. Okay guys, you almost made it to the end. This is Chapter 4, Ride with More. And what do I mean by riding with more? Ride with more what? Ride with more people, and by that I mean dependable people. Riding with another person or with a group of people can be the best way to do things safely, learn stuff about yourself, make friends, of course. But riding as a group makes you less susceptible to injury by vehicle. Although there are inherent risks in riding with other people, I think they outweigh the cons. Again, riding in a group also makes you less susceptible to road rage. We've all been there. We've been riding on a road by ourselves. Someone comes honking by, and what do we want to do? What do we want to do? We want to give them the bird. We want to do something like that. Nope, let's not do that. Just take a deep breath, let it pass by, as long as you're doing so safely. That's the key. Cycling, foremostly, is about having fun, but even premier to that is cycling safely with fun, having fun while being safe. So, yeah, does anybody have any questions over that simple little topic? Yes, you're right there.
Yeah, teacher, what if I'm trying to become more aero? No, I'm just kidding. How do I find groups to ride with?
Another fantastic question, where do you find groups? Like I said, use the internet to your greatest availability. Looking online, Strava, Facebook, Instagram, social media can be your friend in this instance. But also look for schools. There are probably college clubs, high school clubs, just community clubs, or even friend groups. Maybe you have another friend that can introduce you to his or her cycling group or their cycling group. And I find that just to be a trickle-down tree of friends and people and connectivity. So that concludes my Cycle Safety 101 lecture. Thank you for watching.
Woo. In seriousness, thank you guys for supporting the channel. And I'll link down below all statistics and important things that help fuel this video's information, so you can read that if you'd like to. But more importantly, just stay safe cycling, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care. Bye-bye.